Welcome to Reality T Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and today we are going to be discussing Perfect Match. We're going to be doing episodes 4, 5, and 6 in this episode. So, before we do, let's just do the quick reminder here of where we are at with our matches, where we were at when we ended off the last episode. So, we had our kissing contest where everyone was rating everyone's kisses. The winners of that were not in actual matches, they were individuals, and that was with Sandy and Clayton as they scored each other a 10. And where we are at with our matches right now, just we have that memory here. We have Ollie AD together, Lewis and Lewis and Sandy together. I'm gonna say Lucy and Daniel together. Madison with Freddie, and Clayton with Rachel. Those are our matches, in case we need that reminder. So, episode 4. So we see Clayton and Sandy on their date, and he's like, we rated each other pretty high, and I think we should see where we can go with that. But Sandy's like, yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate that. My connection with Lewis is really strong, and I like to keep exploring that. Thank you, but no, thank you. But yeah, like I mentioned before in the last episode, he is all in his head about this kiss with Sandy, and he's just kind of second guessing Rachel, I guess. And this is where he tells us that he scored Rachel a 6. So Lucy and Daniel are talking, but he's getting mad because, listen, you rated Ollie a 10. Ollie has a full ass beard, ma'am, and I don't. And I honestly think that this fight is done. Honestly. Because again, it's the name of the game. This is not new. This challenge is not new. This is what the 3rd time they've done this challenge. Like, well, I guess it's beginning, whatever. I don't remember. I don't know what season we're on. Like, this is not new. And it's not that big of a deal, my guy. At the end of the day, like, she's not with Ollie, she's with you. But 80's also mad at Ollie for the hug at the end that he gave to Sandy, which is why Sandy kind of rated Ollie so high. And I do have to say, you know that body is not 80's body. So why the hell are you hugging her like that? I do have to say. But anyways, Lewis is mad that Sandy was kissing everyone so hardcore because clearly she was, because everyone rated her a 10. Daniel comes down to talk to her because Lucy is falling. Because here's the thing that I find with Lucy and Daniel is whenever, and we're going to see another example of this is the first time it happened, Daniel will get mad and he kind of talks in a way where he talks down to her, being like, it's embarrassing, you embarrassed me, blah, 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 and makes her feel like shit. But then he'll come downstairs and he's like, oh, honey, don't cry. Don't cry. I didn't mean it like that. You don't embarrass me, but you said it. So, like, why say it and then say, oh, but I didn't mean it like that? It feels, it doesn't feel safe. I think for me, and when the first time this happened, I'm like, okay, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. But when it happened again later on, I'm like, ooh, I don't like this. So Clayton and Sandy come back. She talks to Lewis and he's in his feelings about everything, but it's fine. Like, obviously she's not gonna pick Clayton over him. We already know this. Then Clayton pulls Rachel aside to do it again. Yeah. He's like, so I know I said that I wanted to explore this connection. But I also don't want to drag things out longer than I want to. So here we go again. I'm gonna break up with you. And I'm pissed because I'm like, you could have saved her this. Not only the humiliation of leaving you again, but also the humiliation of believing you again on national television and having this happen again on television. Especially for those people who have seen their journey before. This is humiliating. And this is why I don't like you. And he can come up with these excuses being like, oh, if I knew before, I wish I knew before, I wouldn't have done this. But you could have just not done it at all. And she is clearly upset. She's pissed off. She says, this is the third time. What the fuck you say? So apparently, and here we fucking go. She says this is the third time. I said to myself, wait a minute, I only saw this once before. Did I forget something in the Bachelor Nation? No. Apparently, when they reconnected a year ago, he reconnected, or they reconnected in such a way where they, I guess, were deciding that they wanted to explore things after she ended a relationship that she had with a previous boyfriend before this. And I guess similar to what is happening right now, he is like, I can't do this or whatever. And then yeah. So then here we are happening again. And I question, Rachel, girlie, why are you letting him have this? What is it about Clayton that you keep letting him back in? The first time I can give you grace because we are all fooled by him. We be really honest with you. But the second time, it's like, okay, I can maybe understand to some degree y'all in a place where you guys can explore this. Maybe it doesn't go anywhere. The third time, ma'am, he's already proven to you 2 times before that he is not trustworthy. So you're gonna do it a third time? Why did you do it a third time? I mean, shit, why'd you do it a second time? But that's besides the point. Why did you do it a third time? Because you guys can get past us at any point here after the first time. So, like, I'm very confused by her decisions as well. Anyway, that's the end of Clayton and Rachel. It was very quick. Shit, quicker than the first time. So Sandy and Clayton are heading to the boardroom. And I think Clayton was maybe hoping that there would be women for him. But it's like, they're all men. And what do you know? This is getting a little interesting again. Because JR is on the board. Now, if you don't know who JR is and you don't know the history of Sandy and JR was on Ultimatum. If you know the premise of Ultimatum, I don't have to explain that part to you. Sandy and JR were each other's trial marriage. And let me tell you, shit definitely happened. You can't convince me that these two did not fuck while they were in their trial marriage. Because they sure as hell show the scene where my guy was butt ass naked while she was on the bed. And he closed the door. Anyways, if you want to hear more about that, you can head on over to my coverage of The Ultimatum. I think it was season 3. Whatever the most recent season of Ultimatum, straight version, not Queer Love. And it will be there. And you can have all the coverage from that. But there's history with JR and Sandy. So the first thing we decide here is Clayton's like, listen, I owe it to Rachel. I fucked with her heart again, so I think she deserves a date. So they end up matching Rachel with this guy named Scott from Love Island, UK. As for the second match, they're settling with JR being one of those people coming in, and they're thinking, maybe we can match AD with JR. AD's kind of his type. Because again, even though, like, I don't want to make it about color, but for those people who know, because if you don't know, Sandy is white, but JR did come in to Ultimatum with a black girl, and she, if I remember correctly, had a very similar look to AD. So AD would be up his alley a little bit here. So they're thinking maybe AD. But Sandy's like, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. I'm really second guessing whether or not I should put myself on this date. And as we're kind of vetting that off. So we head back to the house. Clayton comes back alone. And we're thinking, oh shit, did she do it? Did she really go on this date with JR? It's like, no, she didn't. She's here. They were playing a prank. Um, so AD, you are going on this date, and obviously we know it is with JR. Ollie's pissed. Ollie's like, hell no, that's my girl. She shouldn't be going on this date. Meanwhile, you brought Alex into the house. That's fine. Both JR and AD are Scorpios because we're on a date now. They're both Scorpios. For totally forgot JR was a Scorpio, and I'm like, oh yeah, that explains a lot. Trust me, I know that they're trouble. I I am with a Scorpio. They are trouble. Trouble in the most fun ways, mind you. But then there's not so much fun ways. It takes a lot to tame a Scorpio. It's not for the faint of heart. Anyways, and they're both one of 7 children. Apparently, they both have the same amount of brothers and sisters. Anyways, but 80's a little bit onto Sandy here, which is like, wait a minute. Math ain't mathin'. JR was on ultimatum. Sandy was on ultimatum. Pretty sure that JR and Sandy were each other's trial marriage. Girl, did you bring him here for you or for me? So Rachel is on her date and she's like, you're not the only English guy in the house with Scott. And he's like, I'm not English, I'm Welsh. And she's like, well, isn't that the same thing? No, ma'am. No, it's not. I mean, shit. Even I know it's not, and I'm not British or UK-ish or whatever the hell fuck you want to say-ish. But even I know it's not the same thing. Listen, I have had the geography testing done with my boyfriend lived in England. And he's like, do you know the 4 countries that make the UK? And I'm like, I think, I think I do. But I learned this. England, Scotland, Ireland, Welsh, Welsh, uh, Wales. I'm fine. Wales. So Wales is its own country. I know this. I watched The Crown. Anyway, but apparently Rachel does not know that there is a difference, and they do sound very different. They don't sound the same. But she doesn't know this. She thinks it's all the same. And he's like, what is with American people thinking that we all sound the same and we all come from the same place and shit, all this? I know, huh? Anyway, I feel like Canadians are a little bit more cultured because we're not a part of a monarchy, but really and truly we are. Let's be real here. Anyways. Um, so AD walks in to the house with JR. And she's holding his hand. Girly pop. You better let go of his hand. You better let go of his hand unless you want Ollie to flip a fucking lid. And then he sees Sandy and JR is like, okay. Alrighty. Anyways, that's where we end episode 4. Episode 5. JR is like, I think me and Sandy may have some unfinished business. Yeah, no shit. That's why you're here. She really truly did not bring JR here for AD. She brought him here for her. I have to respect it. So JR and Sandy, they talk, and he says, I do miss cuddling with Sandy. You really truly out here thinking about Sandy? Really? The fuck out of here. But either way, he's going to make sure that he stays here because who's picking someone over me anyways? Look at me. You know, I am guilty. I thought JR was the hottest thing. I really did. But as long as you are telling me you're hot, you're no longer hot to me. You're actually pretty gross to me. He's not that hot to me. Really, he's not. And yeah, no, I don't want him here. And I want him to be so humbled. And he does get humbled. So he's talking to AD. I forgot that he was married before. He was married before. It was very, he's a Baptist pastor's child or something like that. He married his ex-wife at 22. They were both virgins, thinking this is it. This is all it's going to be. And it just that's not how it turned out, and now he is going batshit crazy. Um, but AD is about the fact that he's married, you know? You're marriage minded. You know, with me being on Love is Blind, like that's important to me. Ma'am. Ma'am, Ollie is also one of the Love is Blind alums. Really? JR? You need to go back and watch his season because he literally says, I ain't trying to get married. I'm trying to live my life buck what the fuck wild. That's what I'm trying to do. He's not marriage minded. He once was, but he's now not. Anyways, in the meantime, Lucy and Daniel match. Clayton and Rachel talk, and he apologizes for how he has handled things. Fuck you and your apology. He says he just wants her to find her happiness. She could have if you maybe just didn't get involved in it. Anyways, with that, he's like, there's nothing here for me. There's no prospects here. He leaves. Bye, Clayton. For now. Madison and Freddie match. Sandy and Lewis match. That just leaves JR and, you know, or she said, let's leave JR in the past. Yeah, let's. JR's like, shit, okay. Since Sandy's no longer an option, let's go create a backup plan with Rachel because Rachel's still on the market. But Scott is like, oh, hell no. You're not going to come in and take the only prospect that I have. So, no. And thank God for that because I do not think Rachel could handle a man like JR. I think he would chew her up and spit her back out. Yeah. I do, I don't know why she keeps thinking Scott is a quote unquote bad guy. I think he likes a little trouble, sure. But I don't think in terms of a relationship, anyways, he's not giving me that. Again, I don't know anything about him, so I could be very wrong here. But I know JR. And I know JR is not it for her here right now. So I'm very happy that did not happen. So anyway, she matches with Scott. JR is like, okay, so let's go back to my original plan, that's AD. She's like, she's what I want anyways. The fuck you say? He says, it's her or no one. Really? After you were trying to make it work with Sandy, after you were trying to make it work with Rachel, now AD's it and only it? Fuck off my screen. So she goes to talk to Ollie, AD does, and he says, I feel more of a connection, or she says, or sorry, does he say, I feel more of a connection with you? Oh yeah, he says it. They feel more of a connection with her than he did with his fiance. Whoa. So they match, which I love for a multitude of reasons. One being, I love their love story. I like seeing their love story. Number two, I want JR to be so fucking humbled. Like, it's great. So that means JR is gone, along with Clayton. So bye, JR. For now. It's a compatibility challenge again. This one is getting balls into the water, little dodgeballs, colored dodgeballs into the water. You gotta twerk, you gotta swing like you're swinging from chandelier, and try to get that into the water. However, if you fall into the water, your coupling will be disqualified. So when they start, for the longest time, no balls are falling into this water. But then Team Blue Balls, which is Lewis and Sandy, they start figuring it out and getting balls to the water. And they're winning. They are winning. They're getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're winning until, unfortunately, Lewis falls into the water and they get automatically disqualified. And then Pink, they end up winning the game. And that's Lucy and Daniel. They have been trying to get a date, and here they are. They finally got their date. So we're heading to the boardroom. Nick is like, so tell me, who are the top two strongest couples in the house? Just out of curiosity. They both agree that Edie and Ollie are definitely top. And that Freddie, well, they were kind of going back and forth between Freddie and Madison and Lewis and Sandy. However, they were like, well, I think Lewis and Sandy would definitely go on a date, whereas I think Freddie and Madison would just not go on any dates. Really? Okay, great. Because these are the only couples who can be sent on dates. These two. But wait, there's more. The current couple. So maybe to say this part, there's a mixed board here. Okay. Both two men, two women. And then we have our two couples, right? They say whoever you choose to go on a date, the other person has to leave the house in order to bring in the new person. So, whoa. Um, yeah. And here's the other thing. You can't, for example, pick one couple to go on a date. So, for example, you can't decide to bring AD and Ollie on two separate dates. No, no, no. It has to be one from each. And this has never happened before. This is new. And this is where we end episode 5. Episode 6. So the news is then broken to everybody. What's going to be happening here? And then we bring in Lucy and Daniel to break the news even further of who the couples are going to be. And that's basically AD and Freddie are the ones that are going to be leaving. AD is pissed. She's fucking pissed. She's like, she walks out. She's mad. Madison's breaking down because she's Madison. So basically, these dates are both women. Sorry, here we go. I'm making sense here. So Ollie gets both of these women that were on the board, and that's, I can't remember their names. And then Madison's going to be getting both men. And I remember their names as Ray and I think it was Jalen. So those are the two. Oh, I think the women were QT, I think, and not QT. It wasn't QT. It was Olivia and I don't know if I remember her name. Anyways, um, so Nick, after their dates, which I don't really care to talk about, Nick basically tells us that the only rule for this mixer is that the new guys and the new girls cannot match with each other, because that would be too easy. Lucy and Daniel match after having an argument with each other about her talking to one of the guys too loudly because she was giggling too fucking loud. What the fuck? What's so fucking funny? Who you laughing with? What you laughing about? What's so funny? Tell me the joke. Let me in on it. He wasn't happy about it. Anyway, then Lewis and Sandy talk because he's doubting her intentions. He's starting to wonder whether or not that she actually is here for the right reasons, which upsets her and makes her like she can't even have a conversation with him any longer. And so she walks away. Madison and Jalen end up matching, and she says, "I love a bad boy. I can fix him. That was your problem. You wanted to be with one like you can fix. You're a fix-a-hoe. You and AD may have something in common after all because she's also a fix-a-hoe, but you can't fix these people. You can't fix. You can only fix. My girl needs to fix herself. You mean anyway?" Rachel and Scott match again. Ollie and Justine, that's the other girl's name. They match because she also has a very similar look to AD, mind you. Sandy and Lewis match. But she's pissed off. She won't even hug him. He's pissed off because she won't hug him. They messy. Which means that Ray and Olivia are leaving. For now. We'll see them soon. We go into the next day. They have 4 days left to pick their perfect match. This went by really quickly. And we find out that men and women are going to be hanging out with the singles by themselves. If you remember, this first time this happened was the last season, and it didn't go so good. Harry gone fucked up and messed with my girl Jess. That's what happened. Anyways, that is it. This was a shorter episode, but that is it for this episode. And so for the next one, we'll be doing episode 7 to 9. Yeah, that is it for me, y'all. That is it for this episode. If you liked what you heard, bear with me because I have not done an outro for this, for the podcast in quite some time. So bear with me here. So if you liked what you heard, you can go to any of your favorite podcast apps. You can follow, make sure you don't miss a single episode. And you can also rate the podcast at either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It'd be greatly appreciated. As a reminder, any 5-star ratings that are given to the podcast or any comments that are given to the podcast will be read on the podcast, which I have done in the past. If you want to connect with the podcast through social media, you can find me at Facebook and Instagram at Reality T times 2. You can also find me at Twitter, TikTok, and Blue Sky at Reality times 2 pod, I believe. You can email me at realityt times 2 at hotmail.com, and you can have any inquiries, anything like that, any ideas, any shows or episodes you want me to cover, you can definitely do that over there. And I am going back to our old website, and that is at solo.to/reality t times 2. There you can get any of the links to anything that I didn't mention here, any of the socials, website, email, all of that. It's all there for you. And we also have a new thing there where you can help support the podcast as well. It's called a tip jar. And you could tip whatever your heart's desire if you want to support the podcast, but don't want to necessarily support the podcast in going to Patreon, for example, or any of the links in any of the advertisements. You can do it there. But since we're on the topic of Patreon, you can head on over to patreon.com/reality t times 2, where there you can get access to even more than what I do here. There are 3 different tiers where you can get these shows ad free, as well as our next tier up where you would get another reality show that's being covered. So, we have Jersey Shore that's been getting covered. That's still being covered currently at the time of recording of this outro, but the future is bright with what's to come in the future, which I will be discussing, or I have discussed. I don't even know. And then also our next tier is a true crime tier as well. So you can definitely head over for that. But that is basically it. I will also just quickly mention here too, if you're interested in a different take of a podcast that I'm a part of, where we do things a little differently, you can head on over to Next Take Podcast, where I usually drop bonus episodes here on this feed, but there you get a lot more. And that podcast is making changes. We're growing, doing new things, but you can definitely head on over there if you want to just hear a little bit different than what I do over here. So you can find that podcast over at our website, solo.to/next take podcast. And there we'll have all the links to your desire that will link you to any of your favorite podcast apps or YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of it. Social medias, it's all over there. But of course, you can still find that podcast at any of your favorite podcast apps. But that is it for this episode. We'll see you next time with another episode. Bye, everybody.